How many times have you promised yourself you'd start something and actually did, only to stop when it got hard, uncomfortable, or quiet? We all start strong, but consistency, that's where most people quit. Because staying consistent isn't about how good you feel, it's about how faithful you are when no one's watching. You see, staying consistent for yourself is an act of self-respect. It's telling the world, I'm worth showing up for. It's reminding your mind and body that discipline is stronger than doubt. You don't need permission, you need persistence. You don't need perfect timing, you need personal commitment. Discipline is the bridge between goals and growth. Everybody wants success. Everybody wants progress. Everybody wants the reward. But very few are willing to walk the bridge that takes them there. The bridge called discipline. Goals are easy to write down. Dreams are easy to imagine, but growth requires something stronger than intention. It requires a structure, a system, a set of habits that refuse to bend even when your emotions do. Discipline is not just about controlling yourself. It's about committing yourself to the process that shapes you into the person who can handle the success you're asking for. Discipline is that quiet force that turns a wish into a will. It's what separates desire from direction. Anyone can be inspired for a moment, but only the disciplined can stay committed for a lifetime. Because discipline doesn't wait for motivation to show up. It acts, even when motivation disappears. It doesn't depend on how you feel. It depends on what you've decided. It's the daily choice to stay focused, even when no one sees your effort or celebrates your progress. Think about it. Every goal you've ever set lives on the other side of consistency. You can dream all you want, plan all you want, talk all you want, but without discipline, your potential remains locked inside you. Discipline is the key that unlocks that potential. It's the voice inside you that says, I'll do it whether I feel like it or not. It's what keeps you moving when the excitement fades, when the results take time, and when everything in you screams to quit. Discipline is not about punishment, it's about alignment. It's aligning your actions with your purpose, your habits with your vision, and your thoughts with your goals. It's what transforms chaos into clarity. Because when you're disciplined, your focus sharpens. You stop wasting time chasing distractions, and you start investing time building direction. Every minute has meaning, every action has weight, and every decision has purpose. You can't control everything in life, but you can control your discipline. You can control how early you rise, how long you work, how deeply you focus, and how consistently you show up. That control gives you power, not over the world, but over yourself. And that's where real freedom begins. Because discipline is not restriction, it's liberation. It frees you from the trap of procrastination, from the prison of excuses, from the chaos of inconsistency. It teaches you that your emotions don't have to dictate your execution. Discipline builds character in silence. It grows in the moments when no one's watching. When you wake up before dawn to work on your dream. When you choose the harder right instead of the easier wrong. When you say no to instant gratification because you're focused on lasting growth. That's where the foundation of greatness is laid. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows of routine. Because real success is not born in big moments, it's built in small, consistent decisions made over time. Think of an athlete who trains every day, even when no game is scheduled. Or an artist who practices long before their work is seen. Or a student who studies when others sleep. They all understand one truth: discipline compounds. Every small act of consistency builds a momentum that success cannot resist. What starts as a routine becomes a rhythm, and that rhythm eventually becomes mastery. But discipline doesn't come naturally. It has to be developed. You train it like a muscle. The first time you push yourself to stay committed, it feels heavy. The second time, it's still uncomfortable. But over time, you build endurance. You begin to trust your own follow-through. You begin to rely on your word. Discipline creates confidence because you start believing in yourself. Not because of what you've accomplished, but because of what you've overcome. Every disciplined decision is a declaration that your purpose matters more than your comfort. That your long-term vision is greater than your short-term feelings. That you're not living for approval, but for growth. You start realizing that success is not about luck, it's about loyalty. Loyalty to your dream, loyalty to your process, loyalty to your potential. Discipline also demands patience. Growth doesn't happen overnight. The results you want may not show up tomorrow or next week or even next month. But if you stay disciplined, they will come. because discipline always delivers. The process may test you, but it will never betray you. Every day you choose to stay consistent, you are building something invisible: strength, skill, stability. And one day, those invisible foundations will support visible results. There's a reason why so many people start but so few finish. The gap between starting and succeeding is filled with moments of doubt, delay, and difficulty. And only discipline can carry you across that gap. It's easy to start when you're excited, but discipline is what keeps you going when excitement fades. It's what reminds you that consistency is not about perfection, it's about persistence. You don't have to get it all right, you just have to keep showing up, and showing up doesn't always mean massive action. Sometimes, discipline is quiet. Sometimes it's as simple as doing one more rep, writing one more page, taking one more step. It's not about speed, it's about sustainability. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters, over and over again. Discipline also protects your energy. When you're disciplined, you stop giving your time to things that don't serve your purpose. You stop entertaining distractions that drain your focus. You start saying no to things that don't align with your growth. You start valuing your time the way you value your goals. That's when you realize discipline isn't about limitation, it's about elevation. You're not losing freedom, you're gaining direction. In a world that praises shortcuts, discipline reminds you that real success has no elevator. It only has stairs. Every step matters. Every effort counts. Every sacrifice contributes to the foundation of who you're becoming. Discipline teaches you that greatness is not one big act, it's 1,000 small ones stacked on top of each other. There will be days when you won't see progress, when the routine feels heavy, when the dream feels distant. Those are the days discipline whispers, keep going. Because growth is happening even when you don't feel it. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you move closer to your potential. You become sharper, stronger, and more grounded. And here's the truth: discipline is love, self-love. It's telling yourself, I deserve better than what comfort offers. It's investing in your future self. It's sacrificing what you want now for what you truly want later. When you're disciplined, you are your own motivator, your own accountability partner, your own reminder that progress takes patience. People will see your results one day and call you lucky, but they won't see the early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifices, the moments you pushed through when no one cared. They won't see the bridge you built brick by brick through discipline. But you will know. You'll know that every bit of growth you've achieved came from a decision to keep walking even when the road got steep. Because the truth is, your goals don't grow you. Your discipline does. Your dreams don't define you. Your habits do. Discipline is the bridge that connects where you are to where you're meant to be. It's the fire that keeps burning long after motivation fades. It's the foundation that turns vision into victory, potential into performance, and goals into growth. Fall forward, not backward. Life will knock you down. That's not a possibility. That's a promise. You will face moments that shake your confidence, challenge your faith, and test your strength. There will be days when everything you planned crumbles in your hands. But in those moments, you have a choice: to fall backward into fear, regret, and excuses, or to fall forward into growth, wisdom, and new beginnings. Fall forward means learning to use failure as a stepping stone, not a stopping point. It's the mindset that says, even if I fail, I'm falling in the direction of my destiny. Most people fear failure because they see it as the end. They see it as proof that they weren't good enough, smart enough, or capable enough. But failure is not final, it's feedback. It's a teacher. It's an invitation to evolve. When you fall forward, you're not denying the pain or pretending it didn't happen. You're deciding to turn that pain into power. You're using what hurt you to build what will help you. Falling forward starts with perspective. You see, backward fallers live in the past. They replay their mistakes, reanalyze their pain, and remain stuck in what could have been. But forward fallers, they use the past as a lesson, not a life sentence. They take the hit, learn the lesson, and move ahead. They don't waste energy blaming others or questioning fate. They ask, what can I learn? What can I build from this? That's the attitude of a fighter, of a dreamer, of a person who refuses to quit just because things got hard. Every successful person you admire has fallen, and fallen hard. But they didn't let failure define them, they let it refine them. The greatest lessons in life are born in moments of loss. You learn more from one failure than from 10 victories. Because success teaches you celebration, but failure teaches you strength. Success shows you what works, but failure shows you what matters. When you fall forward, you start to realize that falling isn't the opposite of flying. It's part of the process that helps you grow your wings. Sometimes God, fate, or life will close doors that you were never meant to walk through. You'll lose opportunities that weren't aligned with your purpose. You'll face rejection that feels personal, but it's actually redirection. Falling forward means trusting that even your disappointments have direction. It means believing that the ground you hit today can become the foundation you stand on tomorrow. There's something powerful about falling and getting back up. Every time you rise, you discover a part of yourself you didn't know existed. You find resilience, you find creativity, you find faith. Falling backward leads to bitterness. Falling forward builds bravery. Because when you fall forward, you begin to see life not as something happening to you, but as something happening for you. But make no mistake, falling forward takes courage. It takes humility to admit your mistakes and strength to rise from them. It takes maturity to learn from failure without letting it define your worth. Too often, people quit after a fall because they confuse failure with finality. They think falling means it's over, but it's not. Falling just means you're still in the game. It means you're trying. It means you had the courage to step out, to risk, to believe. The truth is, failure is a sign that you were brave enough to attempt something that stretched you. If you never fall, you're not growing. If you never stumble, you're not stepping out of your comfort zone. Falling forward means accepting that mistakes are part of mastery. You can't develop strength without resistance, and you can't build resilience without failure. The people who reach the highest levels of success are the ones who have learned to turn falling into fuel. Every time you fall forward, you gather experience. You learn what to avoid, what to improve, what to change. You begin to understand that success isn't a straight line. It's a series of rises and falls that gradually move you upward. Falling forward helps you build emotional muscle. It gives you the endurance to face the next challenge with confidence because you've already survived the last one. It's not about pretending that failure doesn't hurt. It does. Falling can bruise your ego, shake your confidence, and make you question your worth. But falling forward means you refuse to stay on the ground. You acknowledge the pain but choose progress. You let the bruise remind you of the lesson, not the loss. You stop saying, "Why me?" and start saying, "What now?" Sometimes you'll fall because of your own choices, poor decisions, impatience, or misplaced trust. Other times, you'll fall because life blindsided you with something you couldn't control. Either way, you get to decide what comes next. Falling backward means surrendering to shame, but falling forward means surrendering to growth. It's recognizing that mistakes are not marks of weakness, they are evidence of effort. People who fall forward don't waste energy trying to look perfect. They know perfection is an illusion. They'd rather be real than flawless because real people grow. When you fall forward, you learn to forgive yourself. You stop letting past failures define future potential. You start to see failure as a tool, something that sharpens you, strengthens you, and prepares you. When you fall forward, you also learn gratitude. Gratitude that you had the courage to try. Gratitude that you survived. Gratitude that even in your lowest moment, you gained something no success could have given you: wisdom. Every fall reveals something new about yourself. It strips away the unnecessary, the pride, the fear, and reveals your core. It reminds you that your worth isn't tied to your wins, and your growth doesn't stop at your losses. Look at every great inventor, artist, leader, or athlete. Their stories aren't filled with smooth climbs, they're filled with falls. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team before becoming a legend. Every fall prepared them. Every setback gave them skill. Every mistake gave them mastery. They didn't fall backward into self-pity. They fell forward into purpose. The mindset of falling forward changes everything. It removes the fear of trying. When you realize that failure isn't fatal, you stop being afraid of it. You start taking bold steps. You start living fully. You start chasing dreams with confidence because even if you miss, you'll land closer to your goal than if you never tried. Falling forward builds courage, and courage builds growth. There's a certain beauty in the broken moments of life. They humble you, they teach you empathy, and they remind you that strength isn't about never falling, it's about never staying down. Falling forward means seeing every setback as preparation for the next step. It's knowing that every fall moves you forward, even if it doesn't feel like it. Because progress isn't always visible. Sometimes it's buried beneath the lessons you're still learning. You can't rewrite the past, but you can reframe it. You can decide that your failures are not scars but stories. You can use them to help others rise. You can let them fuel your faith instead of feeding your fear. Because when you fall forward, your failures become part of your foundation. You build upon them. You rise stronger, wiser, more focused. You understand that the fall was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to develop you. Falling forward doesn't guarantee ease, but it guarantees evolution. You'll grow in patience, in strength, in awareness. You'll stop defining yourself by how many times you fall and start defining yourself by how many times you rise. Falling forward teaches you that life is not about avoiding pain. It's about transforming it. Every time you get up, you're not starting from scratch, you're starting from experience. So fall forward. Fall with faith. Fall knowing that every setback carries a seed of comeback, and every mistake carries a lesson that will prepare you for what's next. Fall forward knowing that as long as you rise, you're never truly failing. You're just finding new ways to grow. Commit to the process, not just the prize. Everybody wants the prize. Everybody wants the moment of victory, the applause, the breakthrough, the dream fulfilled. But few are willing to embrace what it takes to get there. Because behind every shining success lies a process, one that's often long, lonely, and uncomfortable. The process is the place where character is built, discipline is forged, and purpose is tested. To truly succeed, you must learn to commit to the process, not just chase the prize. The truth is, the prize is only a reflection of the process. The trophy, the title, the achievement, those are outcomes, not sources of strength. The real growth happens in the unseen grind, in the daily commitment when nobody's watching, when no one claps, and when progress feels painfully slow. The process is where you discover what you're truly made of. It strips away excuses, forces you to grow, and teaches you to value progress over perfection. Most people fall in love with the idea of success, not the journey it demands. They love the result but resist the routine. They want the reward but not the repetition. But growth doesn't happen in a moment of glory. It happens in the thousands of unseen moments where you choose discipline over distraction, purpose over pleasure, and consistency over comfort. Committing to the process means understanding that success is not a destination, it's a direction. When you commit to the process, you stop obsessing over when the prize will come and start focusing on how to become the kind of person who can handle it. Because the truth is, without the process, the prize will destroy you. Without the lessons, the losses, the patience, and the persistence, success will slip through your hands. The process prepares you for the weight of the reward. It shapes your mindset, strengthens your endurance, and matures your perspective. Every dream requires development. The process is your training ground. It's where your skills are sharpened, your focus is refined, and your faith is tested. The process will humble you, stretch you, and sometimes break you, but that's how growth works. Diamonds don't form under comfort, they form under pressure. The process might not be glamorous, but it's glorious in what it produces. When you learn to love the process, you stop measuring your worth by results. You start finding fulfillment in the work itself. You begin to value effort as much as achievement. Because every small step, every practice session, every early morning and late night is part of your preparation. It's part of your story. Committing to the process means you're no longer driven by the need to arrive quickly. You're driven by the desire to grow deeply. The process teaches you patience, the kind that can only be developed through time and tension. You begin to understand that waiting is not wasted when you're working in the waiting. Every day you stay consistent, even when you can't see progress, you're still building something. Something inside you is strengthening. Your mindset, your discipline, your belief. The process molds you into someone who can carry the blessing without breaking under it. So many people quit right before their breakthrough because they confuse slow progress with no progress. They want immediate results, instant validation, and quick victories. But the process doesn't operate on your timeline. It operates on your transformation. You may not see it, but every repetition, every challenge, every test is preparing you for the moment you've been praying for. The process is slow on purpose because it's shaping you while it's shaping your future. The process will challenge your ego. It will test your commitment. It will strip away the comfort that keeps you small. It will require humility, the willingness to start small, to fail forward, to learn continuously. It will expose your weaknesses so you can strengthen them. It will test your patience so you can develop endurance. And it will remind you that greatness doesn't happen in a day. It's built day by day. When you commit to the process, you start showing up differently. You stop chasing external validation and start focusing on internal alignment. You stop worrying about what others think and start paying attention to what you're becoming. You stop living for applause and start living for purpose. The process makes you grounded, disciplined, and focused on the things that truly matter. Think about the farmer who plants a seed. He doesn't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. He waters it, protects it, and trusts the process. He knows the harvest will come, but only if he stays faithful during the waiting. Your life works the same way. The seeds you plant today through discipline, effort, and consistency will bloom, but only if you keep nurturing them when there's no visible sign of growth. The process also teaches gratitude. When you've struggled, failed, and fought your way forward, you appreciate success on a deeper level. You don't take it for granted. You understand its value because you paid the price for it. That's why shortcuts never last. They skip the shaping. The process builds the foundation that keeps success from crumbling. Without the process, you might reach the top, but you won't be able to stay there. Every stage of the process serves a purpose. The preparation stage builds your skill. The testing stage builds your endurance. The waiting stage builds your patience. And the breakthrough stage reveals your growth. You can't rush through any of it. You have to walk through it, one step at a time, trusting that every moment is shaping you for something greater. Committing to the process also means embracing failure as part of progress. You're going to stumble. You're going to fall short. But those moments are not wasted. They're lessons. The process doesn't demand perfection. It demands persistence. Every failure refines your approach. Every mistake teaches you wisdom. And every challenge builds resilience. The only real failure is refusing to learn from the process. Too often, people lose sight of their vision because the process feels too long or too quiet. They forget that consistency creates compound growth. Every small act of discipline adds up. Every bit of effort matters. The process might seem invisible now, but it's quietly building your future behind the scenes. The key is to stay faithful even when you can't see the finish line. When you focus only on the prize, your joy becomes conditional. You're happy only when you win. You're satisfied only when things go your way. But when you commit to the process, you find peace in progress. You celebrate small victories. You learn to appreciate the journey. You stop chasing happiness and start cultivating purpose. The process teaches you to enjoy becoming, not just arriving. The process will require consistency even when you don't feel inspired. It will ask you to show up on your tired days, to push through resistance, to keep moving when nothing seems to be happening. That's where champions are made, not in moments of motivation, but in moments of discipline. The process doesn't care about your feelings, it responds to your faithfulness. Growth is rarely glamorous. It's often slow, silent, and unseen. But one day, the same process that felt frustrating will become the reason you're unstoppable. You'll look back and realize that the waiting, the working, the wondering, it was all necessary. Because the process didn't just get you to the prize, it made you worthy of it. So keep building, keep believing, keep showing up. The process is not your punishment, it's your preparation. The process is where the version of you that's ready for greatness is born. Every repetition is a reminder that growth is happening, not all at once, but one step, one effort, one day at a time. When you commit to the process, you stop chasing moments and start building mastery. You stop living for results and start living with purpose. Because the real reward isn't just what you get at the end. It's who you become along the way. Faith over feelings. Feelings are powerful. They can lift you up or tear you down. They can inspire you to act or paralyze you with fear. But feelings, as strong as they may be, are not always truthful. They shift with circumstances, change with seasons, and react to the chaos around you. Faith, on the other hand, is steady. Faith is a decision, not an emotion. Faith is what holds you together when everything around you is falling apart. Choosing faith over feelings means deciding to trust what you know is true, even when you don't feel it. Life will not always make sense. There will be days when the path looks dark, when fear whispers that you can't make it, when disappointment makes you want to quit. Your feelings will tell you it's over, that you've lost, that you're alone. But faith says otherwise. Faith says there's purpose in the pain. Faith says there's light beyond the darkness. Faith says keep walking, even when your emotions scream, stop. A faith doesn't deny the presence of feelings. It just refuses to be ruled by them. Feelings are temporary, but faith is timeless. Feelings fluctuate with the moment, but faith stands on the eternal. When you live by feelings, your life becomes unstable, bouncing between highs and lows, confidence and doubt, hope and despair. But when you live by faith, you anchor yourself to something unshakable. You learn to stand firm even when the storm rages. Faith doesn't mean you don't feel fear. It means you move forward despite it. It means you choose courage when your heart trembles. It means you trust that what you're walking through is shaping something greater inside you. Faith whispers, keep going. When feelings shout, give up. Faith says you're not alone. When your emotions say, nobody cares. Faith over feelings is the quiet strength that carries you through the fire without letting it consume you. Many people let their emotions dictate their destiny. They only act when they feel inspired. They only believe when things are going right. But faith isn't built in comfort, it's built in conflict. It grows when life doesn't match your expectations. It grows when you have to believe before you see. Faith teaches you to walk by truth, not by sight, and definitely not by emotion. Because if your faith depended on your feelings, you'd quit every time life got hard. The truth is, feelings are meant to be indicators, not dictators. They can show you what's happening inside, but they should never control what you do. You might feel tired, but that doesn't mean you're finished. You might feel afraid, but that doesn't mean you're not capable. You might feel unworthy, but that doesn't mean you're unloved. Faith is what allows you to rise above what you feel and act on what you know. It teaches you to live by principle, not impulse. Faith over feelings is a daily choice. It's waking up and deciding to believe in purpose even when you feel purposeless. It's trusting the process when progress feels invisible. It's choosing hope when disappointment tries to take over. Faith is not a one-time decision, it's a lifestyle of persistence. It's saying, I may not feel strong today, but I know strength is being built in me. It's understanding that emotions can be deceptive, but faith leads you to truth. When your feelings tell you that your situation is hopeless, faith reminds you that nothing is impossible. When your emotions tell you you're forgotten, faith reminds you that you're chosen. When your heart says you can't take another step, faith says, just one more. Faith doesn't erase pain. It transforms it. It doesn't cancel emotion, it gives emotion direction. It teaches you that while your feelings may be valid, they don't always reflect reality. Faith gives you the ability to stand when everything in you wants to fall. It gives you clarity when confusion clouds your mind. It teaches you that peace isn't found in perfect circumstances but in perfect trust. Feelings may fluctuate, but faith keeps you steady through every season. It's the bridge between what you see and what you believe. It's the force that carries you from fear to freedom, from doubt to destiny. Faith over feelings means learning to speak truth to yourself even when your emotions disagree. It's looking in the mirror and saying, I am enough, when you feel inadequate. It's declaring, I will rise. When you feel defeated, it's choosing gratitude over complaint, patience over panic, courage over comfort. Faith rewrites the narrative your feelings try to control. It gives you power over the emotional waves that come and go. When you live by faith, you don't wait for motivation to move. You move because of conviction. You don't need everything to feel right to do what's right. You act out of principle, not preference. That's the difference between those who drift through life and those who live with purpose. Feelings may lead you in circles, but faith leads you forward. There will be moments when faith feels lonely, because faith doesn't always get immediate validation. It doesn't always make sense. It asks you to believe in outcomes you can't see yet. It asks you to hold on when everyone else lets go. That's why faith is so powerful. It's the one thing that refuses to bow to circumstance. Feelings can change overnight, but faith endures through the night. Faith over feelings is what allows you to love when you've been hurt, to forgive when you don't feel like it, to stay kind when bitterness tries to take over. It gives you emotional strength that feelings alone can't sustain, because faith doesn't depend on mood, it depends on meaning. It's built on conviction, not convenience. Faith is the steady voice that says, "There's more ahead." Even when your emotions can't see beyond the moment, faith doesn't ignore reality. It just adds hope to it. It sees the mountain but believes it can move. It sees the storm but knows there's peace on the other side. Faith over feelings means refusing to let your emotions define your truth. It's deciding that your hope is stronger than your hurt. It's choosing to keep believing, even when believing feels hard. Every great victory begins with a moment where someone chose faith over feelings. When fear said, "You'll fail," faith said, "Try anyway." When doubt said, "You're not enough," faith said, "You're growing." When exhaustion said, "You can't keep going," faith said, "Just one more step." That's the power of faith. It always gives you one more reason to keep moving forward. Your feelings might tell you to stop, but faith says you're closer than you think. Your emotions might say it's too late, but faith says it's still possible. Your mind might whisper that you're unqualified, but faith says you've been prepared for this. Faith lifts your perspective above what's temporary and reminds you that what you're walking through is not where you'll stay. Faith is the anchor that keeps you grounded when everything else tries to pull you apart. It's the compass that directs you when confusion clouds your vision. Feelings fluctuate, but faith stabilizes. Faith doesn't need evidence to move, it moves because of conviction. It teaches you that your emotions are not the enemy, but they are not your leader either. They are passengers, not the driver. Faith keeps your focus fixed on truth while your feelings fluctuate with the weather. When you lead with feelings, you'll always need the world to validate your next step. But when you lead with faith, you don't need permission. You just need purpose. Faith gives you confidence that even when you don't understand everything, you can still trust the process. It helps you walk through pain without losing peace. It helps you move forward without needing constant reassurance. Faith over feelings is not about ignoring emotion. It's about mastering it. It's about learning to feel deeply but still choose wisely. It's about acknowledging your fear, but refusing to let it dictate your future. It's about facing disappointment but still choosing hope. Faith empowers you to live above the emotional storm without denying that the storm exists. When life shakes your foundation, feelings will tell you to run, to hide, to doubt. But faith will remind you to stand, to trust, to endure. Faith sees beyond what's visible and believes beyond what's logical. It teaches you that your emotions are fleeting, but truth is forever. Faith gives you eyes to see what your feelings can't comprehend. That even in the middle of chaos, something beautiful is being built inside you. So even when your heart is heavy, your mind is racing, and your emotions are loud, choose faith. Faith doesn't silence feelings, it steadies them. It doesn't erase emotion, it elevates your perspective. Faith allows you to walk through uncertainty with confidence, through pain with peace, and through fear with courage. Because when faith leads, feelings eventually follow. Excellence is a habit, not an event. Excellence isn't something you stumble upon. It's something you commit to every single day. It's not born in the spotlight. It's forged in the shadows of discipline. Excellence is not one great act, one lucky break, or one shining moment. It's the quiet consistency of doing the right thing when nobody's watching. It's what you practice when no one is keeping score. Because excellence isn't a performance, it's a pattern. It's not a single event, it's a lifestyle. Every great athlete, leader, thinker, and dreamer understands this truth. Success doesn't come from doing something amazing once. It comes from doing something simple with excellence over and over again. Excellence is built in the repetitions, in the commitment to mastery, in the decision to keep improving even after you've already done well. The mistake most people make is chasing moments of greatness instead of building habits of greatness. They wait for the big opportunity, the perfect timing, or the big stage to show what they can do. But excellence doesn't start on the stage. It starts in the small, unseen moments. It's in the extra 10 minutes you spend refining your skill. It's in the way you show up early when everyone else shows up late. It's in how you handle small responsibilities with care, because you understand that how you do the small things determines how you'll do the big ones. Excellence isn't perfection. It's not about never making mistakes. It's about never settling for average. It's about waking up every morning with a hunger to be better than you were yesterday. Excellence is the daily decision to keep pushing your own limits, to demand more from yourself, and to refuse to let comfort become your standard. Because comfort kills growth, and excellence thrives on challenge. When you make excellence a habit, it changes the way you see the world. You start realizing that everything you do matters. Every choice, every word, every action. You stop cutting corners. You stop doing just enough to get by. You stop comparing your pace to someone else's. Because excellence isn't about being better than others. It's about being the best version of you. It's about setting a standard for yourself so high that mediocrity becomes unacceptable. There's something powerful about people who operate with excellence even when there's no applause. They don't need recognition to do their best because their standard doesn't depend on who's watching. Excellence is integrity in motion. It's when your private habits match your public image. It's when you work as hard for unseen victories as you do for visible ones. Excellence requires discipline, not once, not sometimes, but daily. It means saying no to distractions, no to laziness, no to the easy route. It means showing up when you don't feel like it, giving your best even when no one would notice if you didn't. That's why excellence is rare, because it costs something. It demands sacrifice, focus, and persistence. It's not glamorous, but it's powerful. Every time you choose excellence, you are strengthening a habit, and that habit builds character. Excellence becomes your default setting, not because you have to think about it, but because it's who you are. You don't need someone to tell you to give your best because it's in your nature to do so. You stop living by moods and start living by principles. You start to realize that excellence isn't something you turn on when opportunity comes. It's something you carry with you wherever you go. When you make excellence a habit, your mindset changes. You stop waiting for motivation because you understand that action comes before inspiration. You start to see that success isn't about luck. It's about preparation meeting opportunity. And preparation happens in the habits you build daily. Excellence is the result of what you repeatedly do. It's not what you occasionally do that defines you. It's what you do consistently, quietly, faithfully. Excellence demands that you take pride in everything you do, no matter how small. Whether it's writing an email, cleaning a workspace, leading a team, or chasing a dream, you give it your best. Because how you do anything is how you do everything. Excellence doesn't discriminate between tasks. It's a mindset that applies to all areas of your life. When you train your mind to pursue excellence in the little things, it naturally shows up in the big ones. Think about the greatest performers, the most successful leaders, the most respected individuals. They all share one thing in common: habits of excellence. They train when no one's watching, study when no one's applauding, and prepare when no one's expecting. They understand that the reward isn't in being recognized, it's in knowing they gave everything they had. That's the secret. The satisfaction isn't in the achievement, it's in the effort. Excellence also means being honest with yourself. It's recognizing when you're falling short, when you're coasting, when you're capable of more. Excellence doesn't make excuses, it makes adjustments. It doesn't settle for good enough, it pushes for great. And that push doesn't come from ego, it comes from purpose. When you know you're called to something greater, you can't afford to be casual about your growth. There's a difference between people who perform well occasionally and those who live excellently. One acts when it's convenient. The other acts because it's their conviction. One needs to be pushed. The other is driven by internal standards. Excellence isn't about competition, it's about conviction. It's an inward fire that refuses to let you stay stagnant. It's the difference between someone who works to impress and someone who works to express. When excellence becomes your habit, you stop depending on external rewards to validate your effort. You realize that the reward is in the growth, in the skill you're developing, in the strength you're building. You stop performing for applause and start performing for purpose. You stop chasing recognition and start chasing refinement. Excellence is also about patience, because habits take time to build. Results take time to appear. You won't see immediate progress, and that's okay. The one who understands excellence knows that the process is the real prize. You keep showing up, keep refining, keep growing. Because every day you give your best, you're investing in your future. Every small effort compounds. Every moment of consistency multiplies. That's how greatness is formed, one habit at a time. Excellence doesn't mean being flawless. It means being faithful. It means doing your best with what you have where you are. It means learning from your mistakes and improving instead of quitting. It's about showing up with humility, with hunger, and with heart. Excellence is not arrogance, it's ownership. It's owning your craft, your effort, your journey. And excellence has a ripple effect. When you live with excellence, you inspire others to do the same. Your commitment challenges others to raise their standards. Your work ethic becomes a mirror that reflects what's possible. Excellence is contagious because it's rare, people notice it, respect it, and are drawn to it. You don't even have to talk about it, your actions will speak for you. You might not always be the most talented, but you can always be the most consistent. You might not control opportunities, but you can control your preparation. That's what excellence is: preparation without performance anxiety, consistency without comparison, purpose without pressure. It's choosing to keep sharpening your blade, even when no battle is in sight. Excellence is not about proving something to others, it's about proving something to yourself, that you can stay committed, stay focused, stay faithful. It's realizing that ordinary becomes extraordinary when you do it with excellence. It's understanding that the best version of you is revealed not in big moments, but in the quiet habits of daily discipline. When excellence becomes your habit, mediocrity loses its grip on you. You no longer look for shortcuts or easy wins. You start to find joy in the process, in the pursuit, in the progress. Excellence becomes your rhythm, your code, your identity. It becomes how you move through life, not with haste, but with honor. Because you understand that everything you do represents who you are becoming. And who you are becoming matters far more than what you're achieving. So the next time you feel like stopping, remind yourself staying consistent for yourself is how you honor your own potential. It's how you tell the world, and yourself, that you're serious about your destiny. Keep showing up, keep moving forward, because one day you'll look back and realize that every small, consistent effort wasn't just shaping your life, it was shaping you.